I go about the same amount of grease in my pan than you do in your, that you have for your flour that you mix it in. Now, for the Get Cooking class, the process of making the gravy is also the process of making a bechamel sauce. Okay, so anytime you're going to be making a flour mixture mixed with fat, that is going to give you that roux that we've used before. Okay, so that roux is going to be your base for your bechamel sauce or a white sauce. Now, the white sauce, basically that's going to be one that's just going to be by itself here. Okay. The white sauce can be turned into anything. So you've got your grease or butter. So it could be a butter or an oil base. And then your flour, and that's going to make your roux. We've done that for, I think, some soups, to thicken soups. But if you start with that, and then you add your milk, then that is going to be a basic white sauce. And then from there, you transform it into whatever you're wanting it for. So you can make it into a cheese sauce for like pasta, so you would have to add cheese at that point, and then that would be a bechamel sauce for pasta. Or you could just not have cheese in it at all and keep it as a light, just white sauce that way. But if you're going to make it into a gravy, then you add whatever seasonings you want for that flavor of gravy. You might want it beef flavored, you might want it chicken flavored. And so you're going to add seasonings that go along with that to make it beef flavored or chicken flavored, or you could even add a little bit of wine into it, things like this for some sauces. So that we've done the pan sauce, we've done a tomato red sauce, and now we're doing a white sauce also called bechamel. That's a French word. And out of that bechamel base, we are going to make it into a sausage gravy. So the base is going to be our sausage oil that's going to be left over from making sausage. So the oil would be from that. So I'm going to pop these in the oven. See how nicely we have them? I have them kind of close so that they will grow and puff together a little bit. All right. Now, if you remembered anything about the baking powder from Get Cooking class, if you remember anything about the baking powder, it needed that acid to react to it and to make it puff and bubble up, right? So that's what our buttermilk was. And so that's what's going to help it to rise and puff up, all right? Okay, because we don't have any eggs in there. There was no eggs to make it rise. There was no yeast in there. So we've got all the baking powder is what's going to be doing that. So now we've got our oil all nice and ready for us. I'm going to turn it back on and let it warm back up. I did go ahead and make some sausage patties in case anybody wanted some sausage patties for their biscuits. But the rest of the sausage is going to go in my gravy. So what I'm going to do is get my flour over here now. So I said about 1/4 cup of oil to about 1/4 cup of flour. So I'm going to get out my 1/4 cup measure here. Now, like I said, I don't usually measure this. I just kind of eyeball it to where I see if I've gotten enough. And I'm leaving that sausage in there because it's not going to overcook once I get the milk in there. And I forgot to get the milk out, so I'm going to grab that real quick. All right, so if you look at your recipe, you've got your oil left over from your sausage. You'll have the flour that mixes in with the oil. You're going to let that make a paste by mixing it together, letting it cook for just a couple minutes, okay? Then we're going to go ahead and season it up with salt and pepper, and then the milk, and then the flour ends up thickening the milk, and that's what creates a gravy. Now, if you don't mix the flour with your oil and you don't let it get all into a paste, you will end up with clumpy gravy because the flour will seize up inside there and make balls of doughy goo. And you don't want that, so you want to make sure that you get that all mixed in with your oil really, really well. sometimes if you already have, like when you're making turkey gravy at Thanksgiving, sometimes you'll already have the turkey broth that's ready to go. If you will take the flour, let me go ahead and show you how this could look. If you take the flour and you put it in a small bowl, you're going to want to whisk and immediately start whisking. You'll put a little bit of flour and immediately start whisking so that you can get it smooth so that it doesn't seize up in there. You'll want just a little bit of milk with your flour. Now, that's one way that you can make a thickener for a broth that's already on the stove and make a gravy. So that's one way you can do it, but you want to make sure that that's nice and smooth or it will seize up inside of your gravy and it'll be all lumpy. But we're going to do it the other way this time. You don't want a lot of liquid and then put flour on the top. That's when it's going to happen. Okay, so I've got my 1/4 cup, and I'm just going to sprinkle it all around my sausage that's in here and all that oil, and it's going to just kind of thicken up the oil and make a paste. Let me see if I can show you what it looks like. Okay, so I have my sausage in there still, and it's kind of soaked up all of the oil, and it's made a paste. Now it's all stuck to the sausage. So if the sausage wasn't in there, it wouldn't be stuck to the sausage, obviously. And I've got this on about a medium heat. Okay, and I'm going to go ahead and put some salt and pepper in there. You can always add more salt and pepper, so don't go too heavy in the beginning. You can always wait till the end to do this. I don't know why I like to do it this way. I think my mom always did this way. So, now mix that. Now remember, the sausage will already have some saltiness to it, so don't over salt it. Okay? And now, your recipe says that for about that much of bacon, of that much of the sausage and that much of the flour, you need about 1.5 cups of warm milk. No, it's not warm, sorry. So I may end up adding this in too if I need it thickener, more thick. I'm gonna just eyeball this, stirring while I pour. About 1.5 cups. Okay. So now as it sits and as it simmers, it's going to thicken up while my biscuits are baking in the oven. And I'm not going to waste my time sitting here letting y'all watch me stir. I will be right back in a minute. Okay, as you can see, my biscuits are out of the oven and my gravy has thickened up. Now, what happened was I probably should not have added that roux that I put off to the side with the milk and the flour, because I was like, well, I don't want to waste it. So I went ahead and put it in. That did make it a little too thick. So after a while, it sits there and it thickens up as it heats. And then it continues to thicken even after you turn off the heat. So all I had to do is I noticed that it was a little bit thick and just a little bit clunky. So I wanted it to be smooth like a gravy. So I just poured a little bit more milk in with it. So that's all you have to do. Now I'm ready to serve, and let me get out my other pot holder. I'm about to call my family. I've got all my condiments out. I'm just gonna serve from right here. They've got their biscuits, they've got gravy, they've got sausage, they've got jellies and honey and all that ready to go with it. So do you see my gravy now? It's pourable, and we're going to serve it over the top of our biscuits for our dinner, and we are ready to go. I hope you had a great Easter. Maybe you got a chance to make the resurrection rolls, or you got a chance to have something else fun with your family. Let me know. I'm excited when I get to hear from you and see how what you're doing at home, how you're doing. I miss you guys so much, and I pray for you guys. I hope you're staying safe and healthy, and I cannot wait to see you guys again.